So last week I tried to video our lesson and I was woefully discouraged when I reviewed it. The content was okay, but the video was not, so I wasn't happy with it. So we're going to try again today. A caterpillar, excuse me, I must move him. He does not need to be on my blanket. There we go. Good morning. There we go. We have a lot of those little caterpillars. They're kind of cute. Okay, so sit nice and tall. Hope everybody is fine. Margot, I have you on mute. So if you need me, raise your hand and I can unmute you, but please don't hesitate to ask any questions as you need. Place your hands on your knees, pull your hands, retract your hands back, lift your chest, spread through your collarbones, open them wide. And then I like to add that extra bonus of bringing the shoulders up, back, and then down. And as you come down, cut the bottom of the shoulder blades in. So the point of the shoulder blade is coming in towards the ribs to help really spread the collarbones and spread the sternum wide. Lengthen the back of your head. So you're lifting as long as you can from your shoulders to where your head attaches to your neck. And then soften your feet and let your knees just fall to the sides as gently as you can. Hands behind your back, right by your buttock, and lift up. Lift your butt up just in, I don't even get mine off the support. I just lift it up a little bit to open my chest a little bit more, and then lower yourself down. And then rest your hands, palms up. And just pause for a moment here and breathing in this seated upright position. And as you fill your lungs, notice where the air goes. Don't puff out your stomach. Don't let your abdomen come forward. See if you can maintain the neutrality of your abdominal wall, but expand through the rib cages. So I begin with the bottom ribs, and as I inhale, I expand the bottom ribs. In through the nose and out through the nose. And do 3 or 4 just low ribs on your own. And we'll probably hear a little traffic go by. I know I heard the garbage truck already. He's on another street. But just 2 nose out, just know they're just sounds. And on your next inhale, go to the bottom ribs and then the mid ribs and see if you can start from the bottom. Inhale a little more, moving to the mid ribs, and then pause for just a second, and then exhale. So low ribs, then mid ribs, pause for 2, and exhale. As you're inhaling, feel yourself grow a little taller. Maybe your shoulders soften a little bit more. Maybe your neck lengthens. Begin to pull from the pubic bone up towards the abdomen. And then tongue's not working. Lift the ribs up off the belly button a little higher. Spreading the collarbones. And now on your next group of inhales, descend the back pelvis down towards the floor. So as you have a lift from the front of the body, have a descending to the back body. And on the inhalation, start with the low ribs, then move into the mid ribs, and then move up into the collarbones. Pause for 2 seconds. And then exhale. This is to help us observe how the air moves into our body and how we can make changes with our breath in each of our poses, because the breath takes center stage and controls the rest of the poses. Finish your last cycle, and then just pause for a moment. When I instruct, it's hard because I can't do the breathing with you, so my rhythm is off. But if I do the breathing with you, then I can't teach. So it's kind of a mixed bag here. So do the best you can. And then just to begin, interlace your fingers. And then turn your palms towards me. And stretch overhead. And as you stretch, try to really squeeze the upper arm and the elbows and bring them into your head. And then extend the top of the palms up for the ceiling. And I'm not doing a great job. I'm still honoring. But the thumb moves forward and the pinky moves back. And then descend your shoulder blades down your back. And you'll see how that creates space in your neck. And then slowly release. Remember which finger's on the bottom. Bring your knees together and extend them. Remember which foot was closest to your groin. And now change that. So you have the opposite foot closest to the groin. And it should feel a little different. We all tend to sit one way versus the other. And then do the opposite interlace. Sit tall, check your posture first. And then turn the palms outward and press them away. And as you press them away, open up the palms even more. So the pinky is going towards the ceiling now and the thumb is going towards the floor. My elbows are fully extended and my shoulders are slightly rounded. See if you can retract your shoulders. Pull your shoulder blades back a little bit towards your spine. Pull the abdomen in and up. And then slowly bring the arms overhead. And you'll see how that changes. Squeezing the elbows, bring those elbows in towards your head. And feel where the breath goes as you inhale. It's very high up in the chest. See if you can send it to the outer ribs. And you'll notice you can expand a little bit more in the lower abdomen or in the diaphragm area, lower ribs. Good, and then release. And then use your hands, bring your hands together. Extend your legs. Good, just pause here for just a minute. And then coming forward, I'm gonna move my supports, keeping them nearby. And grab one or two of your blankets and roll them up in a big log. Doesn't have to be perfect. So I also have a small bolster that I can use too, but anything will work. It doesn't have to be the fancy equipment. Blankets work just fine, but sometimes the bolsters are nice. Bring your toes together behind you when you're ready. I'll see everybody. And have your feet flat on the floor, so the tops of your feet are as flat on the floor as you can get them, and the knees are apart. And then fold forward into child's pose. And reach your arms forward, and let your abdomen and your chest, so that the roll is close to the abdomen, and allow the chest to lengthen on the roll as you reach your hands forward. Now, because I'm teaching, I'm not going to rest my head. So for the rest of you, I want you to let your head just relax. Let your abdomen soften. Spread your ribs as you breathe. And then reach forward a little bit more with your arms. Can you get your arms a little farther forward? And then gently place the butt of your hand on the floor so you have more weight towards the heel of the hand. And push into that heel to push the hips more towards the heels of your feet. And you'll feel your hips descend a little bit more. Tuck your tail under, lift your abdomen up and away from the bolster. And then lengthen your chest out maybe just a little bit more, reaching forward a little more with the hands now. Reach forward with that middle finger. Reach forward with the index finger. Stretch away. But maintain the curl of the tailbone and the lift of the abdomen. Take 2 big breaths here. And then on that second exhalation, come forward onto hands and knees, curl your toes under, and press up into your down dog. And this is the first down dog, so keep your knees soft. Knees are soft, abdomen is lifted up away from the floor. Push through your hands to extend the shoulders, and then allow the head to fall just between the arms. Don't go crazy, don't let it relax. And lift the toes off the floor as you straighten your legs. And move your front ribs towards your back thighs. Good, and then slowly come down and come to a stand. For those of us with grumpy shoulders, we're going to grab a belt. I need to adjust. And place your belt on your left shoulder. And so that it's behind you. And then, we're almost ready. Deb, I'm going to need your camera up a little bit more. Margot, up a little. Carol, up a little, everybody. Just a tad for the stuff we're about to do. That's better. Yeah, that's okay. That's better. I won't be able to see anything over your head though, but that's all right. You guys have done this before, so you know what to do. So extend the left arm out and the thumb is down. Roll the shoulder, so we're rolling from the back armpit to the front armpit. So roll the shoulder as the thumb goes down. And then reach back and grab your strap. So any amount. This is my sore arm that does not move as well, so I'm low. You might be much higher up your back, and that's fine. And that's where I want you to be. I want you to keep working that bottom hand up towards the shoulder blade. And then bring your right arm up overhead and extend and really reach and really create some space through the ribs. And then bend that elbow and reach back for the strap. Good. And so now you can begin to push and pull. So with the bottom hand, I pull down, but I don't let it go. I'm just moved it so you can see. And then the top hand, I walk my fingers down a little, down my strap a little bit more. And then I'll pull on the bottom, and then pull on the top. And see if you can't keep creeping that arm up. And you'll feel that your front ribs want to pop out in the bottom, so knit those in, pull those in. They want to take over. And now really take that top elbow and reach for the ceiling with your elbow point, pulling the elbow close to the ear. And lengthen the spine. And then slowly release. And I may have had the strap on the wrong side because it didn't feel right to me, so I'm going to leave it here. And sometimes that just happens. So now extend your right arm out, and the thumb is down, and again, moving that armpit from back to front as you do that. And you'll feel the lift in the chest as you go. And then reach back and grab your strap, and you'll see this hand can go much higher. This is my better shoulder for motion. And then take your left arm straight up. Reach, 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 reach. Stretch and reach. And then bend that elbow and bring the elbow close to the face. And again, you can begin that pushing and pulling. Here comes my garbage truck on time. So you can begin that pushing and pulling motion. Bring the elbow tight, lift the elbow point on the left arm up towards the ceiling, and then begin to push and pull. And then slowly, as you're pushing and pulling, so I pull with the bottom, I pull with the top, and then I walk my hands together a little closer. And then I push, and I pull, and I walk my hands a little closer together. Check your bottom rib. So everybody should be here. If you want to turn around, let me see what you look like. Keep turning, Deb. Turn. Good, Margot. Good. Bring your left elbow closer to your head, Deb. More towards your face. Turn the inner upper arm. That's your sore shoulder too, though, so that's okay. Never mind. Good. And then go ahead and release. Lovely, ladies. Good. Turn around. So we're warming up our shoulders to actually warm up our hips. Okay? So we're going to see how this works together. So have your blocks ready for Trikonasana, for triangle pose. We're going to work 3 poses in a row, and we're going to do it 3 times. But in between, we're going to add some shoulder work, okay? And we're going to add just some different little trickeries to see if we can get more out of the poses. Yep, thank you. That's better. Good. Deb, I might have you drop your screen. Margot, you're fine. I know it's kind of a happy medium, but I want to be able to see you do your poses. And Deb, if your shoulder is bothering you, you can also place your hand on a chair as opposed to the block, okay? So you kind of make it work for you. I have too many distractions. Move that out of the way. Okay, so separate your feet and get them a nice wide distance. Let's see if I knock over this poinsettia plant. Roll your shoulders. So my tendency, I tend to go here. So I really have to roll the backs of my shoulders down to lengthen my neck. And we got to talk to our feet a little bit. So bend your knees slightly and then press through the outer edges of your feet. And you'll feel the arches lift, and you might feel it more in one as opposed to the other. Your feet should be equal. They shouldn't be toes out or heels in, or vice versa. And then slowly straighten the legs. Allow the groins to separate right and left. And then pivot your right foot so it's facing forward, and then turn the left heel inward. We're going to the right. I'm probably going to hit some stuff. So first just bend that right knee, bend it a few times, kind of get yourself ready. And then maybe pull the toes up, see if you can pull the toes, get them ready. And then place the right hand or left hand on your hip and reach forward, stretch forward, and come just to your first triangle. I have my block on my highest pose, at its highest position. And so we'll work the pose from here, just free flowing. And roll the left shoulder up towards the ceiling. But allow the right hip buttock, that right hip tailbone, move that towards the right knee. And then press really strong through the left foot. And extend your right arm, or your left arm up towards the ceiling. And reach. Feel where your ribs are, feel where your head is, and just breathe. And you'll feel how all the air goes into that top rib. So now bend that top arm and place it on your left rib and shove that left rib down towards the floor. But keep the rotation going. So the rotation the left shoulder is moving towards the ceiling, but the ribs are dropping towards the floor. Now take your breath and see if you can send it to the right side. And then take that top arm back up to the top and have you made it a more level triangle with your spine, less rounding. Good. And then press through the back heel and come to a stand. Turn your feet forward. I'm going to give you a little reprieve here. Right, rest your arms for just a sec. Take a breath. And then extend the arms out again. We're going right to the right again. Pivot your foot to the right. Turn your left heel. Bend the front knee, warrior two. And again, I kind of work into it. So we want to think about this right sit bone moving towards the right knee. But the left hip has to grip really hard. So go ahead and punch it, do what you need to do. Feel it working. Make sure that your right knee is moving to the right. And descend the right sit bone. Here's your warrior. Now maintain that. Maybe sink a little lower. Pull the abdomen up and in. Release the shoulders. And then slowly come down to your block for your extended side angle pose. Keep the hand up towards the ceiling at first. And again, if you need to adjust your ribs, you can, I like to push my top ribs down because I tend to want to round my back. So drop those top ribs. And then in a big arc, reach that arm up and over to the side. And I'm going just to my stair rail, which is actually help for me. And then press strong through that extended foot. And then reach back, press up, come to a stand, and bring your feet together for just a moment in Tadasana. And then step your feet apart. We'll go to the left this time. I'm going to try and knock over this poinsettia plant, I think, at this point. So again, bend the knees, press through the outer edges of the feet. Pivot to your left. So left foot's forward, right foot is turned in, and bend the knee a few times. Kind of get it warmed up for that triangle, nice and slow. And then lift the toes. Can you lift the toes? Good. And then extend the arms, roll the shoulders under, lift the chest. And then reach forward, extend, 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 and reach for your block, anywhere you want to go. And I want you to start with your hand on your hip, or your hand on your, just above your hip first. And then begin to drop the bottom ribs. Your head might come up a little bit, but that's okay. Press strong through the back heel. Press strong through the right or left inner ball of the foot. And then think where that breath is going and extend the arm up. Now feel where your air goes. As you inhale, you feel it go into that top rib. Now you know what to do. See if you can get that air to go into the bottom rib. Can you open up the ribs enough to let it go? The left hip is moving towards the left knee. The right glute is gripping very strongly. This is a great way to get our heart rates moving. Maybe you can go down a block, whatever works for you. And then swing yourself back up. Turn your feet forward. Pause for just a second. Rest your arms. And then inhale. Exhale, extend the arms, relax the shoulders. That's such a huge point. Maybe it's just me, but I tend to want to grip my shoulders. And then again, pivot to the left. And now this time we're going to bend that left knee. Make sure the left knee is tracking towards the left pinky toe. Push strong through the back outer edge of the right foot. And then descend, so going into warrior two, so that the left hip sit bone is going towards the left knee. Making sure to turn that left knee to the left. Don't let it cave inward, especially my knee people. Press strong through the back leg and grip that right hip. Really squeeze that right hip. And then reach forward, hands down to your support system, whatever that may be. On the outside of the knee, hand is down. And then work on rolling the right shoulders up towards the ceiling. And extend the arm up, reaching up towards the ceiling first. Lengthening your spine, again, creating space on that bottom rib. And then arc over the top any amount that you can. And now feel that good strong line between your fingers and your foot. And really create space through the top, but more importantly through the bottom. So that left sit bone is moving towards the left knee. Really release there, but grip hard on the right. And then reach back with the arms, swing up to a standing and face forward. Bring your feet together and pause into Tadasana. So now we're going to use the wall. So we're going to start with the right foot forward. So place your left foot at the wall. Put your left outer heel at the wall. You might want your support. Sorry, take your support. I have to change my positioning, so take your block. Margot, if you don't have, are you okay? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, okay. Yep, that works. As long as you have enough space. Yep. Okay. So now turn so that you're facing the direction that your right foot is pointing. And press that heel into the wall. And then pivot your left foot forward. Good. Press the back heel into the wall. And you should be fairly well separated. So we are doing triangle again. Okay, that's where we're going. Yes, sorry, so if you don't have your blocks. I said we were going to run through it 3 times, so. Yep, so have your blocks ready if you need them. And this time you can't really extend your arms because your hand's going to hit the wall. Don't worry about that. But make sure your feet are far enough apart. Taking your right arm, extend it forward. Really reach forward. Stretch and reach. Stretch and reach. Keep reaching, keep reaching. Keep lengthening the ribs. Lengthen the ribs. And then using whatever support, whether you can use your shin, right? You can use your block. If I had a chair here, I could use my chair. And I take my top ribs, my left ribs, and I'm going to rotate those up towards the ceiling. My hand is still bent on my waist, my top arm, and then I push onto my right ribs, my left ribs to drop them down towards the floor. And now feel the wall with your heel. Really push into that wall with your heel, and you'll feel how that buttock grips a little bit more. And now extend the left arm up towards the ceiling. And now from here, really lengthen your spine. Reach your neck away from your hips. Reach your heel away from your hips. And really lengthen out the back of your body. Open up those bottom ribs. And maybe you can go a little lower. It all depends. Relax your shoulders. And you'll feel the breath going into those top ribs. And now move it down to the bottom ribs. And then swing yourself back up, keeping the heel in contact with the wall. And then bend that front knee. So now we're going to really bend the right leg. And you should be able to have your hands fully extended and reach the wall behind you. And now imagine you're between two sheets of glass, so that my knees, my hips, my abdomen, my shoulders, my ribs, everything has to be between those two sheets of glass. And then from here, I'm going to extend again with that right arm, reaching forward, reach forward, lower the ribs down, keep reaching. We're going to extended side pose. Have your support nearby, and top hand on the ribs. So left hand on the ribs, drop your right buttock. And then as you're able, extend the arm up to the ceiling. And then reach overhead. And now you should really feel with the contact of the heel at the wall and the extension of the rib cage and the rolling of the rib cage to bring those left ribs up towards the ceiling, stretching the left fingertips away. And then reach back behind you, reaching for that wall, and press yourself up to a stand. Turn your feet and step together. For Tadasana. And then we'll switch to the other side. And feel free to take a break anytime you need it. If it's too long, if you need to come out of it, take a break for a moment and then come back to it. So now placing your right heel at the wall, and then separate your feet, and now turn that right foot inward so the outer edge of the heel is touching the wall, and then turn your left foot forward. And again, you're kind of hitting the wall with that backhand, but that's okay. And now extend forward with the left arm, reaching, reaching, reaching. Right hand is on your hip, and come to your support for triangle. And again, work on the rotation of the pelvis. So I'm working with my left hip moving forward towards my left foot, and my right hip is moving backwards towards my right foot at the wall. So there's like, again, two opposing actions. And then as you slowly begin your breath work, start with pushing the top ribs down. So you're pushing the right ribs down to the floor to lengthen out the spine. You'll feel what happens. Your hips will start to release a little differently. And then extend the arm up towards the ceiling. Notice your breath here. Release your shoulders. And send the air into the lower ribs. Lengthen the spine, lengthen the head, stretch the arms away from each other. Big breaths here to the strong pose. And then press into that back heel and swing yourself back up. And then bend that front knee for warrior two. Again, pulling the abdomen in and up. Making the left knee move to the left. Don't let it buckle inward. Extending the arms. Strong. Imagine yourself between two sheets of glass here. Squeezing the right buttock and the left buttock equally. And then reaching forward, hands down to your support. Your shin should be resting right against your arm. Push your knee into your arm. That helps give a sense of where you should be. And then begin rotation of the top ribs, those right ribs moving up. Extend the arm up, straight up, palm facing the same way as your face. And then turn your palm towards the floor and reach over, arc over any amount, stretch and reach. Deb, go easy on this one. You can always keep your hands on your hips if you needed to. Actually, it was the other side. So stretch and reach. And then feel the contact with your heel at the wall. Push into the wall with that back heel and stretch the fingers forward for a large extension, and extension through the side ribs, rotating the ribs up towards the ceiling even more, and then reach back, press up, turn your feet forward, and stand in Tadasana. Okay, we're going to go the same way, only this time we're going to face the wall, and you're going to use the wall instead of your blocks. So, you're not going to have your foot at the wall. You're going to move your foot back about, I don't know, a couple inches. I don't know if you can see. I have my front foot is back about 6 inches. And then I move my left leg back, and I've got my right hand on the wall. Push into that back leg really, really strongly. And then lower yourself down into your triangle. I walk my hands down the wall. But I don't go all the way. I come about halfway. And then now you can begin to work on your hips and your ribs. So this is the part that's hard. I'm trying to find the best camera angle that I can think of, so that as I'm reaching for the wall, the bottom hips have to move backwards, and the top hip has to come up, so that I've got one cutting in, but I can keep this lengthening of my ribs. I don't want to be rounded, I want to be lengthened, and I'm going to reach for that wall. Okay? Yes, that looks good, Margot. Yes, separate your feet a little more, Margot. Carol, turn your right ribs up more if you can. Walk that right arm up the wall a little more. There you go. And then begin to walk down the wall wherever you are comfortably.
Okay. So I'm facing the wall.
You're facing the wall.
Okay. Right foot is at the wall.
Right foot's a little bit behind the wall, about 6 inches.
Okay.
And then reach like you're going down into your triangle. So, if I'm, let me get where you can see me better. So I'm here, and then I turn. So I'm going to reach this one, reach. I'll come to where I can actually grab something, and then I take that top arm and I bring it over. Yes. And now feel the cutting of the hip, but work on the rotation of the right ribs moving up towards the sky. I'm sorry, left ribs. You guys, I'm backwards.
And
I'm
my
here.
step foot, my
Yeah.
step foot on the wall.
Yep.
Okay.
And then those that have been there, come on up. Deb, you stay there for a minute more. Go ahead and enjoy that. And feel how you can lengthen your bottom ribs longer from your top ribs. And then go ahead and reach back and swing up. And then turn, so you're going to have your left foot a few inches behind the wall. And then step that right foot way back. And now I'm going to extend. I like to start, for whatever reason, I guess I learned to always start with my hand on my hip. So I reach forward and I reach for the wall. Okay? And now I can work on that cutting in. The bottom hip cuts in. I can work on rotating the top hip up towards the ceiling and then towards my head. So the hips really have to open up. The thighs spread away from each other. So the left thigh rotates to the left, right thigh rotates to the right. And think about lengthening out the ribs. Lengthen the bottom rib. The top rib is easy. It's the bottom rib that is harder. And push into the wall. You can use the wall. Push into your heel. Feel the use of the wall and the heel and how they work together as a team. Work on rotating those right ribs up towards the ceiling. Or I'm sorry, your left, my right, and backwards. And really lower the bottom ribs. I see a lot of rounding going on. So drop the ribs even more. You might have to bend the bottom arm a little bit. That's okay. It doesn't have to stay straight. Bend the bottom arm a little bit. Lengthen the bottom ribs away from the hips. Press through the feet. Good. And then slowly reach back with your top arm and press yourself up to a standing, and then bring yourself together for Tadasana. Okay, lovely. Go ahead and drop down to your hands and knees for down dog. Take a break. And then go ahead and press yourself up into your down dog. And see how that feels from the first one. Does it feel different? Do you have more space? Can you press your heels down? Can you lift your toes? Push strongly through the arms. Let the head just drop. Pull the abdomen up towards the spine. Pull the top of the thighs up into the hip socket. Lift the tailbone towards the ceiling. And then slowly release and come down. I want to do just a little bit of arm work. So one teacher I learned this from called it the dolphin. And for lack of a better word, I'm going to go with that. And we have done this before, but this really helps build the shoulder strength. So I want you to observe for a moment, and then I want you to get the action of the shoulders, because that's the important part. The rest, while I do care, it's not as important to me. So when we do headstands, we always interlace our hands. Not today, we're going to have palms down. Deb, you should be able to do this, but if you feel any strain, let me know. I'll give you an alternative. But you can give it a try. So I place my hands down, my fingertips are forward. And in this position, the action I'm looking for is a lengthening of the shoulders. So I can, this is the serratus again, Carol. We always come back to this bad boy. And so I got to change my arms a little here. So I have everything straight like railroad tracks. And then I press my butt up. And I walk in whatever amount I can. And my head ends up looking towards my feet. But the motion I'm looking for is this. Can you extend through the shoulders and look back at your feet? And if you're able, you might try to lift the leg. And then the other leg. But don't let your head collapse onto the floor. Okay, so go ahead, your turn. Elbows are down, palms are flat on the floor. Look at your index finger and your elbow and make sure they're in reasonable alignment. I started with my shoulders, my elbows slightly wider than my shoulders because that's a little more comfortable for me. But my teachers would probably yell at me. So now look at your hands, curl your toes, and lift your hips. Push your hips up into the air. And look at your hands as long as you can, and then start walking your feet a little closer, but don't let your head touch. Now try to push your head away from the floor. That's it. Lift your hips. Lift them up. Nope, don't worry on the legs yet. and then slowly lower down and take a break for a moment. We'll kind of go in and out of this one a couple of times because it is tiring. And then place the hands back down, center them, look at your hands, press your hips up, move your head away from the floor, and then look at your toes and walk your feet closer. Lift the hips higher. Push through the elbows more. Lengthen the shoulders. Lift a leg. Put it down. Lift the other leg. Put it down. Lower down slowly. Rest in child's pose. Take a breath. A little bit of arm work. We haven't done much arm work lately, so we're going to probably slowly start working into that as we go. And then one more time. Come on up. Look at your hands. Make sure they're straight. Press down with your hands. Press down with your wrists. Press down with your elbows. Curl the toes under. Lift the hips. Look at the hands. Now push your shoulders away from the floor. Push your head away from the floor. Look at your toes and walk it in. Lift the leg. I don't care which one. Put it down. Lift the other leg. Put it down and slowly lower down. Good. Okay. We're going to try and do chair Sarvangasana, so chair shoulder stand. However, not everybody has the same setup. So, if you don't have the chair that you can step through, you're going to do a bridge with the blocks. So we turn. I have my block on high depending on what your back can do today. So we work on opening the shoulders. And this is if you don't have a chair to do this on. Okay? So you can prep for that. With a chair, sorry, I have to make a little padding for myself. These are the lessons learned. I'm going to use my bolster, but you can use your blankets. So if you're using your blankets, you're going to open them up to the biggest fold so that they're as wide as your shoulders. That's too big, Carol. Fold it one more time. Yes. Fold it one more time in half from there. Yes, I think that's what you're going to work with right there. Yep, that's about as big as your shoulders, correct? Okay. Have your chair not on a mat. It needs to be able to slide. And then I take one of my mats and I fold it in quarters. So Margot, we're going to have to get you a card table chair. Okay. Now, if I have my blankets, right now I have a bolster instead of blankets. I have it going lengthwise on my setup against my chair. I need to move my chair. Okay? But if that doesn't work for you, I have to be able to play with it. So this is the death-defying descend down to the bolsters. So once everybody's ready, so we are going into a shoulder stand. Deb, just so you know, be careful. And Margot, you're just going to do blocks, which is wonderful. So we'll leave it as is. So I'm going to have the other two ladies just watch me for a moment. Margot, if you want to go ahead and get into your bridge with the blocks, you just knock yourself out. Okay? So when you get into this, you come in sideways, and I fling my legs over the top. And then I kind of wiggle my butt towards the back of the chair, and I use my arms to walk down. Sometimes I'll look back for my support. I know where it is, but I'm going to come to rest on my bolsters. So now my hips are supported on the chair. My head is gently on the ground, and I can reach back with my arms. If you can interlace your arms into the backs of the chair. And then I'm going to raise one leg and then the other leg, and I keep my feet separated. Okay? And then when you come out, this is the key point, especially for you, Deb. Bend your knees, or if you get tired, you can always bend your knees and rest your legs at the back of the chair. I release my arms, and then I push my chair away so I'm not putting too much tension on my shoulders and neck, and then I can lower down. Okay? Is that clear? That's it, Margot. Yep. Margot, bend your knees and bring your feet back down to the floor. Good. Move your block towards your buttock just a little bit, like a 1/4 inch. Yes. Doesn't feel right, I know. Okay, now. Lift your abdomen up towards the ceiling. Lift your ribs up towards the ceiling. Yes. Now, if that's too hard or too tiring, you can always go to the wall and put your feet up the wall. Either one. Carol, that looks great. Deb, how does that feel?
Good.
All right, your sit bones should be resting on the chair.
Yep.
Your sacrum should be resting on the chair. Separate your legs. And then, Deb, you keep your hands right where they are. Carol, yours look great. Good. Lift the bottom ribs. Migrate, lifting towards the top ribs. Good. Now bring your feet together towards each other and extend through the inner heel. And when you do that, the pinky side of your foot will usually drop towards the floor a little bit. And now see if you can maintain that lift of the inner thigh and the inner heel, and spread the inner groins away from each other. And then separate your feet slightly, a couple inches. Margot, that looks wonderful. I actually like that room better for you. I can see more of you. Good. And now notice where your breath goes. And can you send the breath evenly throughout your lungs? I'm going to join you in this lovely pose. I do like this pose. This is a very good immune system. So if you're feeling a cold coming on, or you're having some digestive issues, if you can get into this position, this is very good for your lymph nodes. This is great for your adrenal glands. It's great for your thyroid. I've always enjoyed this pose. Open up your top ribs closer to your face. Spread them wide. Spread the collarbones. If your elbows are on the floor, Margot, press your elbows down into the floor and feel the lift of the chest. And you'll notice that the air wants to go into the top lungs. So see if you can spread it to the lower side ribs. And then move it to the back ribs. If your legs get tired or start to shake, bend one knee at a time and rest it on the back of the chair, but you can stay in the position. Or you can just rest your legs on the back of the chair. Margot, as you get tired, you might want to just bend your knees and lift off the block. Lift the ribs, lift the chest, soften your face, and now let go of any grips. And just be in the pose. And now bend one knee and place your foot on the chair. And then the other knee, place the foot on the chair. And then very gently lift your hips and slowly push the chair away from you. Try not to disturb your body too much as you lower down. And then keeping your body as quiet as possible, roll to the side. Create your space and we'll go into Shavasana. Some options here. For some of us, Shavasana with our feet up on the chair is very comfortable. This is a great back, so if your back is a little tight, this is a great position for you. Or you can just extend your legs fully. And making sure you have enough space for your body. And slowly extend out into Shavasana. Now here comes the hard part. Letting go. Yep, cover up if you're chilly. Good idea. As you have it over your feet, try not to tuck it in too much. Have it just draped over your feet. I know it gets cold, especially if you it's winter and you have socks. You want socks for your feet. I always get yelled at because I always had socks on because my feet were cold. And then slowly let yourself go. Tuck your shoulders underneath you, lengthen your neck. Lengthen your buttock, lengthen your legs. Reach away from your body with your inner heels and extend your heels as far away from you as you can and lengthen your head as far away from your heels. Take a large inhale here, and then let it all go. Allow your body to spread onto the floor. Allow your bones to sink into the floor. Relax the bottoms of your feet. Relax the skin on the palms of your hands. Soften your calves. Soften your knees. Soften your thighs. With each exhalation, let go just a little bit more. Allow the hips to spread wide. Spread your pelvis. Spread the abdomen. Spread the ribs. Open the collarbones. Soften the arms, the elbows, the forearms, the wrists, and the hands. Lengthen your neck, soften the neck. Relax your throat. Move your tongue to the bottom jaw and place the tip of the tongue on the back of your bottom and maybe your top teeth. Just gently, not hard, no force. Relax the tongue. This will help you relax the throat. Soften your jaw. Spread your cheeks wide. Spread the side of your eyes wide towards the temples. Relaxing the eyeballs so they set back farther into their sockets. Relax the forehead. Allow the head to be very heavy into the ground. And as you inhale, you'll notice your eyes want to rise up. See if you can keep the focus down towards the tip of your nose or your chin. And let go a little more. Go inward. On the inhalation, observe the air going into your lungs, down your throat, down through the tubes, into the bottom of the lungs, and then watch that air move out. And as you draw the air in, follow it down, all the way down to the diaphragm. See the diaphragm pulling the air down. And then relax on the exhale. No gripping. Just observe. And now quiet. Watch your breath. Don't let your mind drift. Don't let the vritis sneak in. The busy mind. Quiet the mind. on your next inhalation, make it a little larger and a little longer. And on your next inhalation, begin to wiggle your toes and your feet. And then slowly begin to stretch a little bit more, maybe lengthening your heels, maybe stretching your arms out. And then gently bend one knee at a time. And you can either drop your knees side to side or you can give your knees a hug. Either one is fine. Or maybe you'll do both. And then slowly roll, if you can, to your right side, but if you can't, that's okay. And pause on your side for a moment, making sure you have a little head support if you need it. And just pause there for a moment. And then gently roll a little farther so your chest is facing the floor, and press yourself up with your outside arm and come to a seated position. I'm actually in Virasana on a block, but you may sit in Swastikasana, whatever is comfortable for you. I just chose this today. Lift your pubic bone, lift your abdomen, lift your ribs, spread your collarbone, lengthen your head, open your heart. Extend the arms out to the side. Raise your chest even more. And then scoop in all that the universe has to offer for you today. Thumbs towards your heart, pinky towards the universe. I pray that you all stay safe for this Thanksgiving holiday. It's trying for everybody these days. It will be difficult, but as a whole, if we all work together for the greater good, we'll do well. Take care of those that you can. Take care of the things that you can. And let go of everything else. Have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll look forward to seeing everybody on Friday. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks, ladies. Hopefully that brought a little enlightenment on opening up our ribs and our hips and our shoulders, all working together. Grateful to have you guys join me every morning. It's a good tool for me. I'm learning every time.